But at least you're honest. All right, you can begin when you're ready.
Okay, the following is a story from Wise Mother magazine. A woman living in Springfield has suffered through years of infertility and decided to adopt a child. The same woman became pregnant with twins after her adopted son was 3 months old. During her pregnancy, people suggested things to her like she should give her adopted son back now that she was having her own kids. To people, her adopted son was nothing more than rented furniture, and now that she could afford her own, she could send the kid back. The reason why people are able to say such horrible things as this is because there's a misconception on how much a mother can love their adopted children. And there's also a misconception on how similar adopted children and natural-born children are. Stories like this exist because people lack knowledge about adoption. With the increase in child abandonment, adoption should be the first choice, not a backup plan. It is estimated that there are between 143 and 210 million orphans in the world. The current population of the U.S. is a little over 300 million people, just to put those numbers in perspective for you. I have personal experience with adoption because 4 of my 5 siblings are adopted. My strong support of adoption led me to doing a massive amount of research so I could stand before you not only with my opinion, but statistics and facts that support why adoption is good. Today I will confirm the number of orphans in the world is a huge problem and that adoption is something that should be embraced as a first option and not feared as a backup plan. Orphan children is a huge worldwide issue, and the following statistics I found in Skyward Journey, which was in a magazine article, so then I confirmed it from a research that was on the Home for Good Foundation's website, was overwhelming, and I just really couldn't believe it. But every day there are 5,760 children that become orphans, and only 250,000 of the 200 million children that I listed as orphans are adopted every year. That's it. And each year, 14.5 million children age out of the system by age 16, and it just means the state and the orphanages can't support them anymore, so basically they go live in shelters or live on the streets. They were never given a chance to have a family. And every 2.2 seconds, there is a child that gets kicked out of the system because the state can't support them anymore, so they're just on their own. And now that you guys are aware of the seriousness of unsupported children and just how many there are, I'm going to address what's the difference between what's fact and what's fiction when it comes to adoption. Adopted children, it has been stated that adopted children develop behavioral and emotional problems, and that's one of the biggest fears, is that people don't want to adopt children because they're scared that something's wrong with them. And according to Psychology Today, problems are only developed because the children aren't adopted, and it's an age-based factor, and the younger you adopt them, the better. And the only reason they develop the problems is because they don't get love and they don't get parents that care for them. So if you adopt them and you give them the love and care, they'll grow out of the problems even if they already have them. And it's also been stated that adopted children are dissimilar or alienated from their families. Like, you could point at the family and say, oh, well, that kid's adopted and the rest of them are their kids, and it's like they're different. And it's really a man-made problem. There's only lines, you can only draw lines between your kids if you draw them. If you tell your kids you guys are all the same and there's not anything different about any of you, then they'll accept that. There's only lines there if you draw them there. And if you look at these pictures, you can't tell me which one of those kids is adopted and which one of them were born by blood. Because, like, if you look at my face and you look at the little girl's face, I get asked if she's my kid all the time. There's no blood relation at all. And now that you're aware of just how many unsupported children there are, and the fact that the 2 main fears of adoption are not even true, I'm going to tell you what you can do and encourage you all to do something to fix this problem. Funding the cause, spreading the word, and considering adoption as a first choice can all decrease the number of orphans in the world. There are tons of foundations that aid people who want to adopt but can't afford to because they can't support the kids. And if you're really against adopting, then you should donate money to somebody who wants to but can't afford it. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, the Lifetime Foundation, and Show Hope Foundation are just a few foundations that all accept donations, and then they sponsor children, or they sponsor families who want children but they can't afford them. And you guys all know that word and gossip and rumors and stuff spreads like a cold, so just make adoption a conversational topic with your friends. I mean, maybe somebody that you know wants to adopt, but they're scared that their friends and family won't accept the kid, so if they know that you accept the kid, maybe they'll go out and adopt someone. And you should really consider adoption a first choice if you have the desire to have children. Nearly every single person in this room said that they were okay with adoption, but there was only one person in this room that said that they would adopt over having a child. Everybody in this room said that they would rather have their own children. It was just tradition. It was just something that everybody does. And if you really want to have more than one child, why can't you have one and adopt one? Why does both of your children have to be children that you gave birth to? In conclusion, I would like to reiterate how you can make a difference and help out with the overwhelming growth of orphan children in the world. I encourage every single person to sit down and ask yourself why you are against adopting as your first choice. Is your reason selfish? Is it because you have the lack of financing or support? Is your reason because you fear one of the myths of adoption? If you are able to support a natural-born child, then you can support one that's adopted. The fees that you would pay for having the birth is the same that you would pay for adopting the child. There really isn't that much different in the cost. And if you're afraid of some of the fears, or you're worried that somebody's not going to accept it, educate yourself. Ask the people around you. Ask them how they feel about adoption. Don't just be afraid of something you don't know about. Go out and learn about it. And today I've put the number of orphans worldwide into perspective, as well as addressing the main myths that can make people weary of adoption. I've also explained how we can solve the problems by donating to adoption foundations, knowing and sharing information about adoption, and actually considering adopting a child ourselves. Being someone who is very supportive of adoption and has experienced it firsthand, I would never ever bring a child into this world knowing that there's already 200 million of them that don't have someone. Like myself, when you know you can support a child and you would be a good parent, why bring a child into this world when you know there's so many that already need you?